This video only has spoilers for the first chapter of Xenoblade 3's story, as well as some extremely general things obvious from reading the back of the box. If you'd told me before the game released that Xenoblade 3, in its first hour, has a scene in a mixed bath with a bunch of 9-year-olds, I think I may have reconsidered buying the game. Do I have your attention yet? While that's a snappy start to a video, if you've played the game you'll know it's also not a lie, but that scene is nothing like the opening sentence would make you think it is. It's also one of my favorite scenes in the game. By far the most interesting thing in the opening chapter of Xenoblade 3 for me was the unquestioned diversity of the cast. More than the actual plot, more than the details designed to be recognized and mess with series fans, it was extremely interesting to me that soldiers trained from birth to fight look like the characters in this game. It is of course a question to interest the player as well as a question for world building as to why the races of the two previous games in the series are on opposite sides of a pointless endless war. But that gets us to the bath scene, which makes it pretty unequivocal that while the sides of the war fight each other, there are no barriers between them within their nations. There may be obscuring steam in this scene for the sake of the Puritan audience looking in, but not even gender is acknowledged in the sea of diversity. There is no bias. A soldier is a soldier regardless of body shape or wings growing from their head. There are characters shown in flashbacks as being picked on, but it's not for their physical appearances. We see male and female characters as very close friends and allies, but they probably don't even know what sex is. After all, we're told in the opening that they are born from their queen, whatever that means, to live in service to her for up to 10 years. There is no reproduction. Kevis and Agnes are extremely equitable meritocracies, and the different colonies you will meet across the game have a very wide variety of worldviews and structures, with many creative people and ideas that change their approaches to life. It almost makes you forget that they're all child soldiers trained from birth to be nothing but killing machines and are entirely expendable at the whims of their superiors. But you'll probably remember that anytime you hear the names Kevis and Agnes, which both mean lamb. You may be familiar with the phrase Agnus Dei, meaning Lamb of God, if you were raised Catholic. Did you know Xenoblade games use Christian themes and imagery? I'm sure naming the main character Noah was a completely arbitrary decision here. Anyway, I found this scene very interesting. Especially after Xenoblade 2, it was very interesting to see the third entry of the series having very little focus on sexuality.
Now place your hand on my chest.
What? Are you sure?
Even if there were a couple design choices that seemed like they're really from an entirely different game. Have you ever heard of the game Trespasser, Jurassic Park? In that game, the main character has her hit points displayed on her chest, and you have to look down to see them. Someone decided that while most soldiers in Xenoblade 3 have their remaining life displayed somewhere easily exposed like a hand or neck, Uni needed a, heads-down display, and all the outfits she wears give her a boob window to make sure her mark is always visible. But other than that, there's not much sexual fan service in Xenoblade 3, and I find that a breath of fresh air. That is, until you buy the DLC and get everyone's swimsuits.